Round 13, Scrabble Players Championship. Thank you, NASPA, and thank you, Maryland. Elise, how are you feeling about this game coming up? I cannot believe what we just saw with round 12.
I know, I'm still coming down from the last game that we saw, but I wouldn't be surprised if this next one is just as interesting and compelling. We've got Waseem Khatri versus Winter. Both are really incredible top experts. Can you tell us a little bit more about these players?
I would be happy to. I mean, I know for a fact that I have never played Wasim, but I have played his friend and I would say protege, Moez Beg, from Pakistan as well. Wasim is a 13-time Pakistan national champion, I think. Like it's incredible how many championships he's won in Pakistan. He's coming and he's always presenting such a great showing at any of the North American tournaments that he's played. I know he was recently playing a long tournament in North America just last week, and he did incredibly well. I think we are here to see a fantastic, fantastic game.
Yeah, and we just saw Winter take down the reigning champion Josh Castellano this morning, so we know that really he can take on any of the best players here too. But yeah, let's look at how both these players are doing in the tournament.
Wow, those are some records up there. I mean, 9-3 and a spread of plus 528. That is incredibly difficult to do in a such a stacked field. I mean, look, it's got David Whitley, Ben Schonbrun, Alex Sehon, Wasim Khatri, big names. And I can't wait to see what Winter and Wasim bring to us. I can't wait to see if the players are ready. Do you guys want to kick it off? Oh wow, look at those scores. 598 against Mina
Whew,
Lee. Wasim Khatri is up there. He's really kicking butt and taking
that's
names.
incredible. Oh, and Winter has a 645 against Bradley Whitmarsh. Wow.
That's
You don't see
great.
that very often, even in Collins.
Have you ever had a 600 game, Elise?
I actually have once at this really small tournament in Galesburg. I drew like god tiles and I was playing against a beginner, so that helped, but never against someone like, Bradley Whitmarsh. So,
Well, let's see if we see another 600-point game in front of us. I'm kind of hoping that it's not, because I'd really love to see this be an even, kind of close game where we can just have our hearts in our throats again and just go back and forth. I feel like those games are so exciting when one player is not just completely bagging the other.
I agree. And yeah, let's see what we're gonna get. Wasim is drawing tiles.
I actually have played Winter before, and I will say that he's a really good player, and I know that he's really been studying. He's gonna have to go up against Wasim, who is, he's a really strong player, and he's drawn really well already. Wow. Okay.
Wow, yeah. Oh, well, the G and the P slow it down a little bit, but just
Yeah, except Wasim's
oh,
seen
except
his
no, there's a bingo here.
he's
Never
seen a
mind.
seven
And he saw it
basically
instantly.
instantaneously,
Very impressive. Yeah, dog naps.
spending no time in putting that down on that board. He's going to get 78 points, his highest scoring placement for that word. Great job. And he's wasted like 30 seconds of his clock. This is exactly what you want to see in a Div 1 game of this caliber.
Yeah, we're off to the races here.
Winter, of course, with his forearm, keeping us away from taking a good look at his tiles. I would love to see what mystery he has awaiting us.
Oh,
Okay, there you go.
okay. And he's gonna challenge dog naps, I guess.
I
A
am
little
a
bit
little
surprised
surprised.
by this. I feel like it's a pretty common Scrabble word, but 5-point challenge, it never hurts to throw the nickel on something if you're
I
unsure.
agree. I agree. I think there's one of the things that we are learning constantly is that Scrabble players are really hesitant to challenge words that they don't know, and they end up leaving a lot of phonies on the board. And I think if it's just 5 points, it's totally worth giving it a nickel, which is what we colloquially call the 5-point penalty. It's worth doing it if you're not sure, and if you think it's going to get a bingo off the board.
Yeah. Oh, and wow, it looks like Winter is gonna bingo right back. He has some eights. Oh, never mind. Sorry. I misread the rack. He does not have
That
eights available.
That's
I got excited.
perfectly, yeah. I mean, he's definitely got a lot of vowels, and that looks so close to one of the the sevens that he could play. I mean, Eosinic and Akanize and Niswa, and he's not going to be able to play that as a seven. But he can definitely get rid of these vowels, which are they're only going to slow him down.
Yeah, it looks like he has a play like Oni lined up, which seems like a really good vowel dump here. Just getting rid of what you want to get rid of.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I see why he's keeping CEI. Those are good bingo leaves. Sorry, bingo tiles. But I kind of would have liked to see him play Iconize and just open up that board even more. Just go, absolutely crazy on this board and just make it wide open. Uh, do you prefer closed or open boards, Elise?
It really depends on the situation and the opponent. I think people always say that against like higher rated opponents, you should play with an open board and give yourself more opportunities. But I'm not really sure if there's truth to that. I think I do tend to prefer these kind of like closed defensive battles a little bit more. And
Me
this, yeah,
too.
it's hard
And I
to
guess it's
decide
up
though.
to yeah, I guess it's up to Wasim to decide what he wants to do with his board. He's got that blank, so I can imagine him wanting to keep that board a little open so that he can bingo right back. But I don't think there's much he can do right now to close it anyway. He could play a little, he could play the tiles a little closer to his chest. You could play something like Jane to the NE that's already on the board. Maybe he could play Lays or ZE, making DOE dough. But there's really not much he's going to be able to do to close this board as it is right now.
Hmm. Yeah, here I kind of like the play of Jane. I think Z is actually a pretty good bingo tile, and if you're holding on to the blank and E, it could improve into something really, really high scoring. But I also, yeah, think that a play like ZE or even a play like Lays, those would be pretty solid options too.
Absolutely. And Chad is pointing out that Wasim's blank is sideways, which might be a dead giveaway that he has one. As a player, do you ever take a look at how your opponent has their tiles oriented, or do you ever think like, oh, they might have a blank because it's sideways?
I do. I think you always want to get as much information as possible when you're playing Scrabble, and I'm kind of always looking at my opponents and seeing how they shuffle their tiles, seeing how they have them lined up. Do they have three tiles off to the side? Do they have them all in a clump that they're not moving? That can all kind of give you a little bit of information on what they might have. I mean, you have to take it with a
Ooh.
grain of salt, but
Going straight to the meta of the game. I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm usually so pressed for time. I'm always thinking about what I need to play, that I don't spend as much time thinking what my opponent is doing with their tiles. Jane is such a good play, and Wasim has spotted it. I really like this the Z and the blank powerful combo, keeping that E. He's set himself up well, I'd say.
I agree. Yeah, I think he's in great position right now.
Not much for Winter to do here immediately. He's got bingo friendly tiles, but there's nothing that he can get down for 50 plus points at the moment. He seems to have identified CAMA, Kama. He had it off to the side for a little bit right before he put Micah down to the side. And that would have played to the side of Jane, making JA and AM. I think that was a good find.
Yeah, I like that play. And usually I get a little bit nervous about making plays like JA next to this double word score, but that C is notoriously really hard to overlap. So, oh, he's going to go with Micah instead, which I also
This is really
like.
interesting.
I think
Oh, sorry,
keeping
continue.
AT is maybe a little bit better than AEIT, so that could be the reasoning.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he does leave a few points in the board. I guess Micah has the advantage of just giving him a little bit more space on this board. Maybe he didn't see Kama. It can be a tough overlap to see. It still scores him 25 points. So it is, like it is what it is.
Mhm.
And Wasim's already spotted his beautiful bingo of blitzed, and that's going to come down. That can come down in two different spots on this board, making either DOD or Boni, BONIE. Which one do you think he's going to go with?
Ooh, that's a tough choice. I think Perhaps the B is a little bit less dangerous in the triple lane. So if you played it with DOD, I mean, there is potential for your opponent to play something with the B that scores quite a bit, but they're probably not going to triple back or anything. Whereas if you play something like Boney and Blitzed, you're putting that D in kind of a pretty decent spot. Um, but I don't know. I would say it's close here. What do you think, Nits?
I hear ya. I mean, Blitz making DOD is 77, and Blitz making Boney is 79. So the 2 points, they're just close enough that I would maybe not want to put the D out in space. I mean, I feel like the B is clunkier, it's harder to play with, and I think Wasim's coming to that same conclusion.
Yeah, I like this. I think this is good.
Notably, that blank is still sideways.
Yeah, what the heck? I want to go in there and turn it around for them, but they might notice.
I could do that for you later today. I might hop on the train and just make my way to Maryland, say hi to the fellow players. Of course, we are here commentating remotely. We're so lucky to have this stream opportunity. Thank you to Bob Lynn and NASPA for making this possible for us to bring you all these games, 28 and 31 in total, where players go, play these incredible games.
Mm-hmm.
All right. YIE. Off to the side for Winter, he's seen Fiat. I think that was a very, very quick spot on his account. He sees that ZA would make a great overlap, and that would score him 44 points right off the bat.
Yeah, that looks like a great option. He does actually have some options that score even more than that. Oh, and he turns the blank around. He also can play underneath Blitzed, a really cool overlapping play of Yitie, Yitie. But that leaves AF, which is maybe not quite as good.
I actually don't mind that leave of AF because of that I that's floating with Micah. I mean, he can eventually just overlap there. So Fiat, I think, is a really Fiat. I guess it's a really good find on his part. Yitie, I think, would have been really lovely. 50 points for that, and Fiat at 44.
Mm-hmm.
If only Wasim had an E to play Hungered through, but right now he's just going to have to go through these tiles. That B out in space, it's definitely clunky, but it will give Wasim back a few great scoring plays. I think he's likely to spot them, but he's also moved DUH off to the side, or he had for a little bit. I wonder if he was playing, if he was planning on playing just something really short and sweet, keeping ENRG.
Interesting. Yeah, that could be an option. But I do expect him to find some plays extending down from B. He has, I guess, a few normal words like budger and bunged, but also a few maybe more obscure words, bedung, which means
Ooh.
dung, as his best. Well, I think maybe the best option here. You'd like to put the G down on that bottom square instead of something like the D, which is maybe easier to start bingos with. But
I agree. I really would love to see B Dunk come down. That would be a great find. Keeping HR, that's lovely synergy. That's a great play. As you said, Budger is a little bit more common and might be easier to find. Bedrug possibly also, but he has put Doug. Let's see, he's thinking of debug. All right,
okay.
that would be 33 points for him. Keeping H and R, possibly not as good, but it does take up that B. It does score him points.
Yeah, and I think it controls the board just a little bit more rather than extending far and opening down that kind of bottom quadrant. You're keeping things a little
Absolutely.
bit tighter.
But now that Wasim has seen Budger, which he has off to the side, I think he's likely to figure out the anagram bedrug quite quickly because as we study as we study words, we study them as alphagrams, and we kind of start associating them as pairs. And once he's seen budger, I think there's a chance that he's going to remember that budger and bedrug are anagrams of each other, even though they're six letter words, which Scrabble players don't study as much, because study the seven tile word, you just make a bingo. All right, debug coming down for 33. I'm a little surprised. I think budger would have been a bit better than that. What are your thoughts, Elise?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is maybe slightly worse, but definitely not a huge mistake by any means. Still a pretty defensible play.
All
Oh,
right.
wow. And it looks like we have a big donation in the chat from Penumbra. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Penumbra. That's so nice. Thank you so much. It's support from viewers like you that keep us going. Thank you so much. All right. Winter here. What is he to do? What is he to do? Will he spot through the IF of Blitzed and Fiat wifey? WIFEY, keeping GIIV. Like that would be a cool find. That would be a cool find.
That would be very cool. And I know it's always hard. There's this thing called blank blindness that sometimes we experience where if there's a blank on the board, you're just a little bit less likely sometimes to see plays through it because you're not thinking about this as an eye necessarily, it's just a blank tile. So it would be maybe an extra level of difficulty to find that play there, but I'm confident that Winter could do it.
Can we please go down in history as noting that I came up with the term blank blindness because this is something that I am afflicted with all the time, forever, and will be forever dealing with for the rest of my life? I feel like I should be allowed to come to tournaments with stickers that I can put on the blank and just be like, okay, this is what I have now in my head.
That's a great idea. That would be nice.
I would definitely get kicked out of the tournament for that, but to each their own. The funny thing is, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, the funny thing is that when I saw Winter's Rack, the first thing I saw was the word Viewy, Viewey. And I mean, I'm kind of thinking I'd like to play that through the eye of Micah. I just want to get rid of those gross tiles, even if that means that I'm leaving myself behind with GII.
Yeah. And he goes with the much more aggressive option, which I can understand at this score line. You would want to be a little bit desperate. He's over or around 100 points behind. So opening up a triple is maybe not the worst option here. What do you think, Nits?
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, he's just far enough behind, and he's got yucky little tiles that he can try and play aggressive. If you're not going to play Viewy, if you don't see Wifey, then there's no reason not to play Ivy. Ivy, it scores well enough, and you can just hang on and hope.
Yeah, and Waseem has a little bit of a clunky rack here. The H, the K, and the M. Those are all nice tiles to have. They have a lot of scoring potential, but how would you be thinking about working through this rack, Nets?
Ooh. Oh man, I kind of wish you hadn't asked me that. Well, I guess what I'm thinking of immediately is I add an eye to the tiles that I have in front of me and I say, what can I play with these? And Hiker would be one of those. Moniker was suggested in the chat. I think both of those are great ideas. I think I would have preferred Moniker a little bit over Hiker just because, it's one more tile that I'm getting out there on the board. Sorry, two more tiles that I'm getting out there on the board. And, I'm keeping the H, which is nice.
Yeah, I agree. I think Moniker is maybe a little bit better, but I like the idea behind this play. Just kind of keeping things under control and getting rid of the H and the K and scoring a bunch. Oh, and Winter is going to play pretty quickly here.
Good. I mean, good for him. He keeps an O. Not a lot for him to do here. Swinging is 30 points, so I can understand why he'd want to do that. I think there's also benefit to just not playing as many tiles when he's as behind as he is. Even something like Vow, like VOW under Hiker, would have been a really good play. It would have been 34 points, which is 4 more points, and it would have kept EEGIN. Now, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I agree.
This is Swing, as has been pointed out in the chat, is setting up an S hook that Winter doesn't have at the moment. But I think he's behind enough that it makes it is defensible to want to make the board more volatile, to set up more opportunities for you to get a higher scoring bingo. There's the R of Hiker that he can play from. There's the S hook that he doesn't have at the moment that he would be able to play a bingo too. And Waseem can only control one of those threats at a time, or continue to keep scoring.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And let's see, so Waseem having 2 A's, an M, and OPR. There are some cool extensions available with these tiles. Maybe some people in the chat might try to spot them looking through these floaters and blitzed.
Ooh, fancy. And my apologies, folks. I have accidentally misled you. Sweeing does not take an S hook. Suing, which is 2 E's and then a W, does take the hook, and may have been a more calculated play over here so that Winter would be able to set up a volatile S hook. Waseem is given the opportunity to play a few overlaps to the side of Sweeing now. I mean, there's a really cool 6-letter word that could go down, keeping NP, if you guys know that one.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
I wonder what it means.
It is from Spanish. The word we're thinking of is paramo from the P. And it is a bare, windswept, elevated plain in South America. So
Fancy.
a geographical feature.
If you are Waseem in this situation, what are you thinking about? I mean, are you thinking about how you can control this board? Are you thinking about how you can continue scoring? Are you thinking about the tiles that you want to get rid of? Sometimes when you're faced with a situation like this, you are up, barely 1.5 bingos, barely 2 bingos. It can be a little complicated to decide what you want to do next. It's a strategy game. It's also a game of your ability to control this board. I mean, at least in your expert opinion, what would you want to do with this board right now?
Yeah, I mean, being over 100 points ahead, I would be thinking about board control. Obviously, it's not so much of a lead that you can be super relaxed and just give up a bunch of points to kind of rein the board in, but given that he has plays like Paramo or Pampa that score a bunch and also kind of take out all these floaters and sweeing, that's definitely something I would be considering right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I really like the suggestion of Ramonza. I think that is such a cool play. A little tough to see because you have to look at that Z and the ZA that's on the board and consider that still a lane that is alive and well, something that can be played through. When boards develop a little bit like this, and you start having to think in terms of what can you play through, I think it challenges the Scrabble mind in a way that we're not usually thinking of when we're just alphagramming, when we're just flashcarding. I think trying to block the lines with Sweeing with Moan for 27, keeping PAR is certainly, I mean, it's certainly defensible here. He's getting rid of that I, that N, the G as possible floaters to get bingos through.
And yeah, I think the N is a little bit dangerous, but not so dangerous in the triple. I mean, it's kind of hard to end a word with N. And like we said, Sweeing doesn't take an S, so you're not going to be playing through to the right.
And kudos to Winter for finding one of his, I think his highest scoring play here. He's taken Waseem's time to think, and he's played Kron, CRON, for 32 points. He keeps the QER. That is okay because he scored 32. He just has to keep moving on.
Yeah, and we still have 3 U's in the bag, so he can definitely dive in and draw one of those to bail him out. And the Q could be a really good tile with ERS, potentially. So yeah,
That's
I
a
like
really good point.
glad that he, didn't waste any time on it.
And I think there is some strategy to, just thinking on your opponent's time, to saving the time that you have so that you can calculate how you're going to keep keeping up with this game, really. Uh, Winter's done exactly what he needed to. He has kept scoring and he's moved on, and it's back to Waseem. He's down to 9 minutes and 30 seconds, and Winter has twice as much time right now.
Yeah, we'll see if Waseem gets into time trouble. I mean, my instinct is that he still is doing okay. Like, when you get down to 5 minutes, you're really kind of struggling. But yeah, there's definitely an element of time pressure that might be a factor as this game goes on.
I'm intrigued to see Waseem playing Paw for. I just figured that he would have played something because this is 25 points. I figured that he would have played something to the end of Moen. I know he'd seen Prawn. He had it out to the side.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder something like Poan to that end might create another lane above, possibly extending into that double word score. So it could have been just a board shape position or a board shape based decision, but yeah. And Winter is going to slap down cheese. That looks like his best option here. Nothing else really scored much. I think you do probably want to get rid of your S to just offload your Q for 39.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah. And ROTE, perfectly fine bingo tiles. I mean, he's got two S's that he could still draw, and he can just hope that his opponent will start struggling with their own tiles.
Yeah, which is maybe what is happening here, although Waseem finds a good vowel dump with auto. Also kind of taking out this N in the process by taking that triple. So I like this play quite a bit.
True, good point. And unfortunately, nothing for Winter to do here at the moment. Um, he would have needed an E to play an 8 through. Um, really, I guess, this is another one of those positions where you have these 1 point tiles where you're really close to a bingo, and either the board is not permissive to it, or you really just don't have anything. And right now, he's going to have to struggle through this. The highest that I think he might be able to score is just 21 points right now. I think he might be able to get trio under QIS.
Yeah, I would maybe even think about some plays that score less, but do some more aggressive things to this board. I mean, you do have a lane next to the D and debug. You can maybe hold out to draw a bingo from the R and hiker, hitting the triple, but I would want to be making as many opportunities for myself as possible here. Being down by so much, you definitely want to bingo ASAP.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I guess with two places on the board to bingo, so like you have to start an 8 with the R, or you have to play a 7 that ends and slots down next to the D. How would one create space on this board? Like that's a really good question, and that's a question that players constantly have to keep asking themselves when they're in a position like this. They're losing by 130, and there's really not much for them to do with the tiles, with the 1 point tiles that they have, because as you start to open the board with these 1 point tiles, you're likely not scoring much. So it's really, I mean, as you've said, it's really such a give and take, right? Because you want to stay within striking distance of a bingo, of within your opponent, but like at the same time, there's only so much that you can do if you play only 3 or 4 tiles for multiple points. But when you do draw a bingo, there's nowhere to place it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, which maybe explains why Winter is going to go with Rit here. It's one of the higher scoring options, I guess, if you don't see trio. So you want to keep yourself within range if you can't really find a way to open up the board that much more, at least kind of keep scoring. And when you do hit that bingo, you'll be in a better position to come back.
I agree. And I think I may have seen a blank flash onto Winter's rack. I'm not sure if that is the case, but we can see an S. Onto Waseem, however, I don't want to forget Waseem. He has a really fantastic play that is available to him. Four overlaps to the side of Moen. He just has to see it. This is really a moment of board vision and knowing your five-letter words.
Yeah, this is a tough one. It would be really cool if he could spot, yeah, his play next to Moan here. That play being Vaire, Vaire. I think it's a type of fur. Yeah,
Oh,
other than that, are there any other options here? I guess if he doesn't spot that you would like, Nits?
oh man, really, really good question. Man, I mean, so if the X wasn't out, I would. Well, actually, you know what? I'm thinking a little bit about ONY and AGA making YA for 24. There's a part of me that's like, okay, there's an X out, so you definitely don't want to give up that spot for somebody to plop a ridiculously high scoring X word. That would be heartbreaking. You really don't want to make that available. But the other cool thing about having a V on Wasim's rack is that he can play something like Via and DA, to the side of debug. That's only 17 points, but it's getting rid of that sevens lane and it's forcing Winter to only be able to, at this moment, either play through that V and get like an over word, or he has to play from the R of Hiker. So the seven, I mean, I really don't know where the seven would go on this board.
Yeah, I agree. I think a play like Via looks pretty nice here. Just doing some defense and making Winter's life harder. There are a lot of bingos from the R, but it is definitely more challenging. And we see right now he already has some sevens on his rack that will play next to debug. Oh, but he's gonna go with yay.
Yeah. Okay. 26 points for him. And on to Winter, who has himself a blank and an F. He has a few bingos, and there are some that go to the side of the D, making DE.
Yeah, I see Saffroll, Forslow, Forleza. He's got quite a few options. I'm not sure if I see any that get the F on that triple letter score. Do you?
Yeah, me neither. Still, honestly, 75 points is 75 points, and it gets him within striking distance of Waseem. He just needs to hope that Waseem's not going to score that much in his coming turns, and Winter can keep up the scoring pressure.
Yeah, so it looks like he's going to go with Saffroll. That seems like a nice choice.
I agree. Also, at this point, I think it's worth it to, if you see a bingo and you see that it scores, 75 points, that's the only likely place on the board where you're going to be able to place one. I say go ahead, send it, and if you can, just put your opponent in time pressure and just hope that you'll pick up the tiles that'll keep you within range.
Absolutely, yeah. Now Wasim's under 4 minutes, so it makes a lot of sense to just put down a bingo. I think I'd take 1 minute to see if I can triple my F, and if not, I would just go for it.
Right. Unfortunately for Winter, of course, Waseem has scored 41 points with Vibe, keeping ARR. I feel like that's such a play that you have to make. You see it, you have to put it down. It gets rid of your V, your B, and it scores so well. This is a no-brainer for Waseem.
Yeah, this is very standard, excellent play. Does everything you want it to. Oh, and this rack looks pretty good for Winter, but does he have anything?
Oh, man.
It's one of those deceptively nice looking racks, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Lent 7 is there, but I don't think it goes anywhere.
Oh, man. This is really tough. And it's really frustrating, too, to draw these racks and to know that they're not going to go anywhere on this board.
Yeah, so in that case, what kind of play would you be making here, Nits? Would you want to be fishing, opening the board, trying to score?
Oh man. So I'm down 101 points. There's nowhere on this board that I'm gonna be bingoing at the moment. Um, where even can I make space on this board? So like I'm thinking, has the board been completely exhausted? And is there a way for me to make space for myself? And if there isn't, um, what can I hope to draw to keep winning or like to have a chance, you know? I mean, is it the case that he can hope to have a great exploit making onyx? Is he thinking, for example, that Waseem played ony setting up the x and hoping to play an x word there? I this is tough, this is tough. These are all the things that would be going through my mind, and at the end I might just, I might start looking, do I want to play something making QIN? Do I want to play something to the side of Saffrol, making something like Dolt, DOLT? And that's 27 points. This is such a tough position for Winter to be in.
Yeah, this is very challenging. Let's see. I kind of like some plays, maybe tacking the D onto vibe, um, and extending out to the right with something like droll, just throwing that E out into space. So DROLE,
Oh, that's
giving
nice.
it another shot, and it scores pretty decently. I would maybe be thinking about that option here.
I really like that. I really like that. That's really nice. Um, I mean, that you can hope that you can play through that sometimes. That it'll give you enough space and enough of an opportunity to put the O or L or I out in space. But I believe there's a chance that Wasim's just going to take up that spot. So Wasim, of course, as we know, has drawn the X. He has a fantastic spot for the X to go to the side of swinging. He may or may not take that, I think, because there's still O's out. There's one O out. Sorry, two O's out, according to Wasim.
Yeah, I
So
wonder if you get fancy and try to fish for something with onyx, but I'm not really seeing anything. It's kind of a hard place to end a word with X. Or I guess you could maybe try something with EX next to yay also. Um, but yeah, do you see anything there? I'm kind of struggling to see that. Almost
that's a
high
really good
or
question.
something, but
Oh,
doesn't quite
man.
fit. Yeah.
Um, there's no C's left. So, okay, let's see. Um, no L. There's only one L, so he can't do that. Okay. I'm thinking. Maybe he could fish for hand axe. I don't know. But that would need another A, N, and a D that he doesn't have. Um, he could fish for, gosh. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's maybe a little too far-fetched, but I
yeah,
was hoping.
for the tiles that he has, I agree. But man, if I'm ever in this position, I'm definitely thinking, man, what's a cool six-letter X word that I could play?
Hmm.
There are no P's out, so I'm thinking maybe Storax. Maybe he could fish for Storax. He has RAX and the S. He just needs the T and the O. There's two T's out according to Wasim. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself because what is really like what is Winter to do in this situation? It's such a hard place to be in.
Yeah, very tough. I mean, yeah, maybe you just score 27 with Dolt next to Saffroll and just hope that you draw something from the R. That
I
could just be
agree.
an
So
option here, yeah.
yeah. Tough. Six tiles in the bag. Um, the X, the H, two U's. The Q's already done. Uh, I mean, I know there's something to be said for when you come to a point in a game and you say, okay, I'm not going to waste any more of my mental energy here. I know that I want to play well for my next game or for the rest of the tournament, and I will stop expending mental energy, and I will save that for something else. And in those cases, sometimes, players will have a tendency to just say, you know what, I'll just play the highest scoring play that I know, and I'll just put it down, and I will move on to the next game, and I'll save whatever energy and whatever brain power that I have left. I mean, I can't really fault players for that, right? Like, I mean, there comes a point where you say, okay, I know that I don't want to keep attempting at this game anymore, and I just want to move on to the next one where I might have more of a fighting shot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, tournaments are marathons, not sprints, and you're always thinking in the long term about conserving energy. At the same time, I don't know if this game is totally lost. I mean, you could imagine a world where Winter draws a big X play and then draws a bingo out, and he's back in this game.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
Absolutely.
I guess playing something like odd, just two tiles, uh, giving yourself maybe a scoring spot at the top, still holding out for some kind of bingo from the R. I think this is a solid choice.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, there's a case to be made for continuing to keep moving on. You do give yourself um, a chance to, like play from the R or through the O or to the side of Saffrol. Absolutely. It is up to Wasim now to figure out would he like to risk playing EX to the side of Sweeing, knowing that there's an O unseen, and he's going to do it. 55 points. He's absolutely going for it.
Yeah, I think this makes sense. I mean, hitting something with EXO would be a little bit challenging here. And it's so many points. I mean, and it really is kind of just stretching the lead even further. So I like this play.
Yeah, that's a really fair assessment. Also, I mean, Winter had just played one O. You can hope that your opponent is not hanging on to another O after that. Scrabble players will have a tendency to hang on to their E's or their A's or their I's, but usually not O's and U's. So uh, maybe he was hoping that he wouldn't get hit too hard, or that his opponent wouldn't have an O. And of course, we know that Winter didn't have one. Wasim's drawn that O.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now things look pretty dire for Winter. There's still 9 tiles in the bag, so I think there maybe is still some opportunity to cook something up, but uh, it's gonna be an uphill battle. I don't know, Nits. What do you see? What should he try
Uh,
to do?
that's a fantastic question. I mean, I guess he could be thinking about, can he draw bingo in two spots? Is there a way for him to get something down? He's playing off that U. I think he's fishing for something. Um, it wouldn't win him the game, but it would definitely get him closer on the spread. So that's at as best as he can hope right now. Um, I'm one of those players who, I mean, I know that you can't really resign in a game of Scrabble, right? So like, I'm not averse to just kind of giving up eventually and just being like, okay, clearly I am not going to win this. I also don't know what are the two spots where I could fish to, and Horse are coming down for 90
Oof.
points is really just the nail in the coffin. I mean,
Yeah, that's rough. Uh,
this is really tough for Winter. Really tough for Winter.
but good find by Waseem.
Absolutely. But I mean, really great play by Wasim. He's really just, props to him. He's at 545 points. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's such a high score. He's really kept Winter down, and Winter has been defeating giants all over the place. He's done so well this tournament. He's been really studying hard, and just look at him go.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And I think at this point, maybe Winter just wants to cut spread. It looks like he can offload most of his tiles with something like lutein or untile next to WE.
Ooh, nice find. And
Yeah,
that's exactly what he's going to do.
looks good.
All right, good for Winter. I really say um, there is something to be said about that. I really do think that sometimes you just have to uh, save your brain space, and you just have to move on to the next game.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're gonna have games like this where you do what you can to try to make chances for yourself, but the tiles just don't cooperate. And in that case, you just move on and hope that the next one goes a little bit better.
I agree. And Wasim really, really, played a fantastic game here. Just really well done on his part, finding some really great plays. Dog naps was immediate. That was under 30 seconds. I would love to hear what these players are saying and discussing their game. Should we cut?
558. Difference of 209. Three four nine 558. Submitted.
Okay,
All
looks
right.
like we're not going to get much discussion here.
Well, they say brevity is the soul of wit. So tough loss for Winter here. Oh wait, are they talking about the game? They are taking pictures and they are about to square the tiles. All right.
Okay.
Well, that was a tough loss. Sometimes the tiles are what they are. And you know what they say? There is a very clear statistic for there's 25% of the games that you will win no matter what because of the tiles that you draw, 25 that you will lose no matter what because of the tiles that you draw. And there is no better example of this than Nigel Richards, who has won 75% of the games that he has played. You really just sometimes go into a game and you draw what you draw and you do the best that you can with them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's a fact of Scrabble, and it's what makes the game so amazing and exciting. Anything can happen, but also frustrating at times as well.
And honestly, we wouldn't even have a chance to have such incredible games on board with us to be able to view them live if it wasn't for NASPA and for Bob Lynn and for our incredible producer, Josh Greenway, for doing all this work, for making this possible. We have 31 games of Collins Scrabble for you. Do not go anywhere. We are going to go on a very, very, very short break, and then we'll come back with a fantastic matchup and keep you on your toes.